Maitreya Vacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Swasargasya, of our own children, Ashisham, welfare, Lokyam, in the world, Ashashanam, desiring, Pravepatim, while trembling, Nivritta, averted from, Sandhya Niyamaha, the rules and regulations of evening, Bharyam, unto the wife, Aha, said, Prajapatihi, the progenitor. Translation by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Maitreya said, the great sage Kaśyapa thus addressed his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he had been dissuaded from his daily duties of offering evening prayers. Yet, she desired the welfare of her children in the world. Please repeat the translation. Maitreya said, the great sage Kaśyapa thus addressed his wife, who was trembling because of fear that her husband was offended. She understood that he had been dissuaded from his daily duties of offering evening prayers. Yet she desired the welfare of her children in the world. Next verse, I'll recite myself. Kaśyapa vacha aprayaptyad atmanaste doshan mahurtikad uta man nideshati charena devanam chati helanat. Translation. The learned Kaśyapa said, because of your minds being polluted, because of defilement of the particular time, and because of your negligence of my direction, and because of your being apathetic to the demigods, everything was inauspicious. Purport. The conditions for having good progeny in society are that the husband should be disciplined in religious and regulative principles, and the wife should be faithful to the husband. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that sexual intercourse, according to religious principles, is a representation of Krishna consciousness. Before engaging in sexual intercourse, both the husband and wife must consider their mental condition, the particular time, the husband's direction, and the obedience to the demigods. According to Vedic society, there is a suitable auspicious time for sex life, which is called the time for Garbhadana. Diti neglected all the principles of scriptural injection, and therefore, although she was very anxious for auspicious children, she was informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of a Brahmana. There is a clear indication here that a Brahmana's son is not always a Brahmana. Personalities like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu were actually born of Brahmana, but they were not accepted as Brahmanas because their father did not follow the regulative principles for their birth. Such children are called as demons or Rakshasas. There were only 1 or 2 Rakshasas in the previous ages due to the negligence of the disciplinary methods. But during the age of Kali, there is no discipline in sex life. How then can one expect good children? Certainly, unwanted children cannot be a source of happiness in society. But through the Krishna conscious movement, they can be raised to the human standard by chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the unique contribution of Lord Chaitanya to human society. Doesn't the Bhaktivedanta purport? Om ajnana timira andasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshuram militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha nama om Vishnu padaya Krishna preshtaya bhutale Srimate Swamy niti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we see here the consequences, what happened after Diti communicated her mood to Kaśyapa. So here Maitreya is saying, Maitreya vacha swasargasya ashisham lokam, desiring welfare of her progeny in this world, ashashanam pravepatin, because she was trembling in fear. For what purpose? Nivritya sandhya niyamaha. She had dissuaded her husband from following the rules and regulations of evening worship. Bharya maha prajapatihi. Because Kaśyapa could see his wife was in shame and trembling in fear. So he spoke to her in a manner of communicating the consequences of not following the system. So what are she committed 3 offenses in this perspective. It is said in this verse. Kaśyapa vacha, Kaśyapa said, aprayatyad atmanaste. So because of pollution of consciousness or mind, doshan muhurtakad utaha. There were faults in not following the time regulation. For anything, like if you want to do any activity, you see muhurta, a good auspicious time, so that the result will be auspicious. So she did not follow the time regulation. Auspicious muhurta was not followed. Second one, man niddeshita aticharena. She did not follow the orders of the husband. So disregarding the orders of the superior is the second cause. Devanam cha atihelanat. She disregarded the demigods, disrespected the demigods. So these are the 3 reasons for which Kaśyapa said, your outcome will not be auspicious. Because she decried in 3 ways. So in the purport, Prabhupada was saying, the condition for having a good progeny in society are that the husband should be disciplined in religion and regulative principles, and the wife should be faithful to the husband. So if you want good progeny, see, if you want the fruit to be good, the tree should be good. The tree should be good, the seed should be good. In the system, everything should be in the proper process. So before engaging in sexual intercourse, both the husband and wife must consider their mental condition, the particular time, the husband's direction, and obedience to the demigods. These are considerations in a family life. Because what kind of consciousness the parents carry at the time of sexual intercourse, that kind of living entity becomes attracted into the womb of that mother. So there is a science. So if you want good progeny, if you want Krishna conscious perspective, our thought should be in Krishna conscious perspective. If you are in material perspective, materially progressive children will be generated. Diti neglected all the principles of scriptural injunction, and therefore, although she was very anxious for auspicious children, she was informed that her children would not be worthy to be the sons of a Brahmana. So she was expecting good out of bad. So Kaśyapa is saying there is no good here because you have not followed any basic regulation. And certainly unwanted children cannot be a source of happiness in society, but through Krishna conscious movement they can be raised to the human standard by chanting the holy name of the Lord. By general, if Varna Shankara population comes, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, there is no source of happiness in this life nor will be in the future. For the ancestors, for himself, for not for his descendants. So this is the problem with unwanted children. They will create misery everywhere. So the parents will have misery, the society will have misery, and everybody, the demigods will have misery, everybody will be harassed because of these demoniac unwanted children. Examples are Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravana, and Kumbhakarna. In that perspective, they are the examples given here. So in Prabhupada's instruction, we see the 3 points what here are communicated. Not following the rules of the superiors, not following the indication of the time, and disrespecting the demigods. From a Vaishnava perspective, how do we understand this? See, many people complain, ISKCON means only Krishna. You don't worship anybody else. You don't respect anybody else. But is this correct? So Prabhupada clarifies, he says, a Vaishnava does not disrespect the demigods. But on the other hand, he is not so foolish that he accepts each and every demigod as a supreme lord. First, we should know who is of what level. So respect is given due respect. It is not that everybody are given the same respect. Like if you go to a professional company, you will be meeting persons from peon to the managing director or chairman of a company. Do you give the same respect to the peon and give the same respect to the chairman of a managing company? Chairman or managing director? So different people, different levels of respect. So here also, in the material world, there are different levels of authorized personalities. Some are demigods, some are demi-demigods, some are the supreme Vishnu, some is the final is Lord Krishna. So everybody will have a different level of worship, different level of respect. So that's what a Vaishnava follows. A devotee of Lord Krishna does not disrespect Lord Shiva, but worships Lord Shiva as the most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. So Lord Shiva is worshipped like a Vaishnava. He is not worshipped like Lord Krishna. There is a difference in worship of Guru and worship of Krishna. So Lord Shiva is treated like a Guru because he is for the welfare of all auspicious living entities. He is the Acharya of the Sampradaya. He wants everybody to engage in service of the Lord. That's what his mentality. He communicates this mentality in Rudra Gita, 4th canto, when he was preaching Prachetas. He says, anybody who is worshipping the Supreme Lord is very dear to him. He wanted to see that every living entity is engaged in the service of the Lord. So with that perspective, he was preaching Rudra Gita. So he is acting like an Acharya, encouraging people to engage in the devotion service of the Lord. So a Vaishnava never disrespects any demigod. Why demigods? They are so exalted, they do not disrespect even an ant. So what is that disrespect an ant or disrespect a dog or disrespect a cat? So what is it due respect for a cat or a dog? Don't throw stones at them. That is a due respect. Let them go their way. So similarly, an ant means let it go its way. You need not go and play around, try to hamper its path. All these things, we don't. So many ants will be going on, let them go. We don't go and disturb their activity. So although Vaishnavas accept Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu as a supreme, they are not prone to offend demigods. They give the demigods proper respect. So even in Vrindavan, we see that pastime where all the gopis were worshipping Katyayani. What? They were worshipping Katyayani in the mood that they wanted Krishna as their husband. So in that way, they were never disrespecting the demigods. So this principle that Vaishnavas are very, to say, monotonous, no. They respect everyone, but their commitment is only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu. So now, the second perspective is, what happens if he violates the orders of the superiors? One who violates the etiquette by not showing proper respect to superiors is put into the hell known as Kshara Kardama. So if you don't accept the orders of the superior, or if you neglect the orders of the superior, will be put into hell. What is the example for this? In 4th canto, we see King Vena. He stopped all the sacrifices in the kingdom, and he stopped all the auspicious activities in the kingdom, and he wanted all the sages to worship him as the Supreme Lord, and he should be given all that yajna offerings and all. So all the sages got disturbed by the process. They went and communicated to him what is the Vedic etiquette and how he should follow the system. He became so offended that he started complaining against them. He said, you people are not to be trusted. You people are like not serving your husband, and you are going and serving the paramount. Like that, he criticizes them in a very harsh words. When the Brahmanas got offended, they cursed him to death. By their words, they cursed him to death. And it is said that he had to suffer in hell for defying the orders of the devotees like Brahmanas. So this is what we understand. If you defy the orders of the superiors, we go towards hellish condition. The destination is hellish condition. Next. Atheism means defying the authority of the Vedas and decrying the great acharyas who teach Vedic scriptures for the benefit of the people in general. So whom do we consider as atheists? Those who do not follow Vedas, those who do not follow acharyas. They are considered as atheists. So then, if one is initiated, then he accepted the authority. And if he does not follow the instruction of the spiritual master, he is a rascal. If he is defying the authority, that's all. Means one who is initiated means he has to follow the instructions of the superior, acharya, the spiritual master. If he does not follow, he becomes bound up. If one is disobeying the spiritual master, he cannot remain in the pure status of life. If he does not follow the instructions of the guru, he cannot have pure consciousness. Dharmasya glani means to defy authority. There is a discrepancy in the discharge of religiosity or occupational duty. Then happens dharmasya glani. So here what happened? Kaśyapa is in the order of a spiritual master for Diti. Because she had offended by not following the instructions of Kaśyapa, there was a dharmasya glani. Means the children what will be generated will not be of daiva nature, will be of demoniac nature. Dharmasya glani. When one does not accept the authority, this is a chaotic situation. This is called as Varna Shankara situation. The disturbance in society happens. So not accepting the authority is one more example is Duryodhana. He should have accepted the authority of great personalities when they came. They tried to dissuade him, give back the kingdom as the rightful share for Yudhishthira. He did not. He defied the authority. Even Krishna came and requested, at last, not the kingdom, at least 5 villages you give for the 5 brothers. Duryodhana said, not even a land which can hold a pin. How much is a pin? A pin tip will be very sharp, very small size. He said, I am not going to spare even a land which will hold the tip of a pin. So he openly decried Lord Krishna. The result is Duryodhana with his entire family and all his supporters, where everybody were vanquished. So this is the problem with not accepting the authorities' instruction, because authorities are for our welfare. They give instructions for our well-being. So if you defy, we are lost in our endeavors. We are lost from this world. So one point what here, everything was caused because of polluted consciousness of Diti. So what is problem with this polluted consciousness? And what is the solution to come out of this polluted consciousness? So based on Bhagavatam, we will see this perspective. Atayeva shanaishittam prasaktam asatam pati bhakti yogena tivrena viraktya cha nayed vasham. So in this material world, every jiva, it is the duty of every jiva to engage his polluted consciousness, because our consciousness is not pure. Because that's why we are in the material world. Because we wanted to imitate the Lord, we want to compete with the Lord, that itself is the polluted consciousness. So this is not his natural swabhava. So because of his polluted consciousness, he is there in this material world. Now Shastra is saying, Kapila Muni is saying, how to come out of this polluted consciousness. Atayeva shanaishittam. Those who are having this polluted consciousness, it is their duty of what? Prasaktam asatam pati. Who is now attached to material engagements. Because of polluted consciousness, he is running behind material desires. So, tivrena bhakti yogena viraktyacha. By tivrena bhakti yogena, in serious unalloyed devotional service and by detachment from matter. So then, nayet vasham, there is no other way one can control this polluted consciousness. Nobody can control the mind unless he engages in tivrena bhakti yogena and vairakyacha, by detachment and by engaging in serious devotion service, or else there is no chance that we can control this polluted consciousness. Then, what is the process for controlling this? Yamadibir yoga pater, by following yama, niyama, ashtanga yoga in the yoga system. Abhyasan Shraddhayanvitaha. One has to practice Abhyasan Shraddhayanvitaha with faith in the system. With faith and by practice of Yamahadibir in this process of devotion service. Mayi Bhavena Satyena means in engaging in pure devotional service, unalloyed, Satyena, Mayi Bhavena, pure unalloyed devotional service, if you engage. Matkata Shravanena Cha, by hearing about Lord's glories, Matkata, and by chanting about the glories of the Lord, and by hearing about the glories of the Lord. Sarva Bhuta Samatvena, by seeing all living entities in an equal mood, the consciousness of seeing all living entities on equal platform. Nirvairena aprasangataha, nirvairena, without any enviousness, aprasangataha, without any attachment to any living entity. Brahmacharyena, by following the principles of celibacy. Maunena, by following gravity. Swadharmena, by executing one's own occupational duties. Bali Yashaha, by offering results to the Supreme Lord. So in this way, by practicing devotion service, one can come out of this polluted consciousness. So Prahlad Maharaj also says in his prayers by saying, Naitan manas tavakatasu vikuntanata sampriyate durita dushtam asadu tivram kamaturam harsha shoka bayaishanardam tasmin katam tavagatim vimarshami dinaha. If one has polluted consciousness, can he engage in Krishna Katha? So Prahlad Maharaj says, Vaikuntanada, oh my dear Lord Vishnu, who is there residing in the Vaikunta, Asadu Tivram Kamaturam, where there is no anxiety, my mind is extremely sinful and lusty. He is saying, my mind is extremely lustful and sinful. Asadu Tivram Kamaturam. Asadu, not to be trusted. My mind, which cannot be trusted, asadu, and Kamaturam is hankering after material desires. The Shishi Radha Govindaki. He is very lusty. Harsha Shoka Bhaya he is sometimes happy and sometimes distressed. And Bhaya Eshanardam, my mind is full of lamentation and fear and always seeks more and more money. It wants more and more money. It's running behind. Money, money, money. Money, money is sweeter than honey. So, Durita Dushtam. And it is most polluted. My mind is the Durita Dushtam. And is Na Etan Manas Tava Katasu Sampriyate. It is never satisfied in topics of the Supreme Lord. It is not at all interested in Krishna Katha. So therefore, Dinaha, I am a most fallen and poor person. Tasmin Katam Tavagatim Vimrshami Dinaha. So in such a status of life, how shall I be able to discuss your activities? If my mind is running behind money, how can I think of Krishna? It will never be possible for me to think of Krishna. A similar verse we see in Bhagavad Gita. Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya apahrata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadau na vidiyate. For those who are running behind Bhoga and Aishwarya. Bhoga means enjoyment, Aishwarya means money, opulences. So Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam, those who are endeavoring for these two, Bhoga and Aishwarya, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya apahrata chetasam, their intelligence has been lost. Apahrata means which is gone, stolen. Taya apahrata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi, there is no resolute determination for them. Samaudavna vidiyate, they will not be engaged in spiritual subjects, will not enter into their head. So this is what Prahlad Maharaj is saying. What is the problem with polluted consciousness? Kaśyapa gave so much instruction. Did he follow that instruction? The problem with polluted consciousness, we will not be able to accept the sincere or spiritual instructions which are given for us for our welfare. So this is the problem with polluted consciousness. So further Lord Krishna explains to Uddhava in the same perspective of how to control this mind. He says, Yasmin mano labda padam yadetad shanair shanair munchati karma renum satvena vruddena rajastamascha viduya nirvanam upayati anindanam. Like he says, Yasmin mano labda padam. When the mind can be controlled, when it is fixed on the Supreme Lord. Yasmin manaha labda padam. When the mind Labdha Padam, when he attains the Supreme Lord, the position of the servitorship of the Supreme Lord. So then, Yat etak shanair shanair munchati karma renum. Having attained such a situation, the mind becomes free from polluted desires to execute material activities. Karma renum. He becomes free from all these desires for enjoying material tendencies. Then, Satvena Vruddhena, because of increase of Sattva Guna, Rajas Tamascha, the influences of passion and ignorance are gone. Then, and gradually, one transcends even material mode of goodness. One comes to the Shuddha Sattva platform. So, it is like Anindanam. When there is no fuel, is there fire? There can be no fire. So, similarly, when there is no activity or provocation in the mind towards material sense gratification, so mind automatically engages in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, therefore, Viduya Nirvanam Apayati, one achieves the transcendental position or direct relationship with the object of his meditation, the Supreme Lord. When the fuel is not supplied to the mind, mind will focus only on the Supreme Lord. And he further explains about practical perspectives. Yadi adharmarata sangat asatam vajitendriyaha kamatma krupano lubdaha straino bhuta vihimshakaha pashun avidinya alabhya preta bhuta ganan yajan narakan avasho jantur gatvayati vulbanam tamaha karmani dukkho darkhani kurvan dehena tai punaha deham abhajate tatra kim shukam martya dharminaha. So he says, Yadi adharma rataha, a person engaged in sinful and irreligious activities. Yadi adharma rataha, if you follow activities which are not prescribed by Vedic perspective. Sangad asatam, because of having bad association. Then vajitendriyaha, because of failure of control of senses. Then kamatmanaha, he becomes, a person will certainly develop personality full of material desires. He becomes kamatmanaha. He will be running behind material perspectives. So then, krupanaha lubdaha. Because of following material desires, he becomes krupanaha, miserly, and he becomes greedy. Then, strainyaha, he will try to exploit women. He would want to enjoy sense gratification. So, Bhuta Vimshakaha, when the mind is polluted, one becomes violent and aggressive. Bhuta Vimshakaha. And Pashun Avidina Alabhya, without authority of Vedic injunction, slaughters innocent animals for sense gratification. Then Preta Bhuta Ganan Yajan, he starts worshipping Bhuta Preta Pisacha Ganan. Then Narakan Avasha Jantur Gatva, he bewildered person falls into the grip of unauthorized activities and goes to hell. Where Yati Vulbanam Tamaha, he receives a material body infected by darkest mode of nature, Tamo Gunaha. Having achieved that body, he performs, unfortunately continues to perform inauspicious activities. Karmani Dukkha Udarkani Kurvan, which will further increase his future unhappiness. And Dehena tai punaha, therefore he again accepts a similar material body because of sinful tendencies. Then, kim shukena tatra, where is happiness for him? For one, deham abhajate, for one who engages in activities, martya dharminaha, inevitably terminating in death. So, if you follow the polluted consciousness, the result is he is destined to suffer in hell. Not only of this one lifetime, lifetime after lifetime he will be suffering in hell because of his sinful polluted consciousness. So further it says, Pumsam kalikrutan doshan dravya deshatma sambhavan sarvan harati chittasto bhagavan purushottama. And in Kali Yuga especially, Pumsam kalikrutan doshan, there are so many faults because of Kali Yuga, the nature of Kali Yuga itself, of dravya, objects, desha, places, atma sambhavan, and even individual personalities were all full of polluted consciousness. Kali's influence, objects are polluted, the places are polluted, and individual consciousness are polluted. But Sarvan Harati Chittasto Bhagavan Purushottamaha. But if you engage in the Supreme Lord's worship, in devotion service, Sarvan Harati Chittastaha, the Lord purifies everyone's consciousness by engaging in bhakti. So, bhakti is the only principle to come out of this polluted consciousness. So, sometimes also, certain situations will lead for a unique outcome to come. So, here, what is that? She defied the authority. She disrespected the demigods. She did not follow the time frame. The result was 2 demoniac personalities came. And for these 2 demoniac personalities, 2 times Supreme Lord had appeared. In the perspective, it has done an auspicious activity for the devotees because 2 times Lord has appeared to this material world. Seen a positive way, never seen a negative way. So 2 times we had an opportunity to hear Krishna Katha. So similarly, whenever a system fails or something, if you are in a positive frame of mind, the better things only will evolve. Even a negative frame of mind will start only destruction perspective. Like for example, I was just reading a small story, whether it is true or not we have to judge. So this is about Sundar Pichai. So when he was in the initial days, when he was working hard to establish himself in US, so he and his wife were invited for a dinner program. So he said, I will be coming from the office directly to the location. So you can come to directly to the host place from the house, so that we'll be there on time, 8 o'clock. And we can come back home after the event. So, see, in Western countries, people are very punctual. They would like to maintain that punctuality. So, his wife Anjali had started on time, reached the house on time, and she was waiting there for her husband. So, Sundar also had started on time, but on the way, he was lost of the track, of the path, and because of this confusion, he landed after 2 hours, somewhere around 10 o'clock, he reached the guest place. In the meantime, wife was there. She became little offended, but she finished her dinner, and with courtesy, she went back home. Now, Sundar Pichai, when he came there, everything was wound up, but the host received him nicely, at least spoken him well words, and seeing that his wife is already gone, offended, so he also bade farewell to the guest, and he also came home. When he came home, the wife was so angry. It is said that she did not allow him to enter into the house, it seems. Because she got offended that in entire everybody's in a social circle, she got offended, but husband had not reached on time and she got offended. So she did not allow him into the house. Now what to do? No food. He did not eat there. So there is no food here also. If he goes inside, there will be whole issues. So he thought, let me go to the office and spend time in the office. So he went back to the office, he drove back to the office. So when he went back, he started contemplating where he went wrong. So he started thinking, if there would have been some direction for me, where it would have been helpful for me to reach on time, so that I would not have lost in the process. By morning, he came to a conclusion, if there would have been some map to me, not only like me, there are many people, I assume, who would have lost track, where to go, when to go, how to go, like that, directions were lost. If something assistance can come to me, I could have reached on time, and I could do many other activities, it could help the entire public in general also. So he called his team, and he communicated his idea. Everybody said, no, this is not going to work. You are finding a map which is going to activate, which is going to help people. So it is not possible. So 2 days he convinced people of his idea. And slowly people started accepting the principle and they started working. After 1 year, they introduced what is called as Google Maps. In 2005. In 2006, they introduced Google Maps in UK. And in 2008, it was introduced in India. Now it has become so popular, 1 in 7 people is using Google Maps all the day. So in that way, see, something a small thing had created a positive perspective. So similarly, sometimes whenever a situation happens, we can also take a positive perspective and start working out in the direction how we can also come out with good ideas. Something can be learned from the situation, not that we have to always be in a negative, pessimistic way. We can be in an optimistic way, and we can also come out in a positive perspective and bring out something better of the situation for us also. And in devotional perspective also it is said about Lord Jagannatha. This is one story of a devotee in Puri. So there was one girl by name Jnanade Maluni. She is a beautiful garland maker who lived in Puri under the time of King Mukunda Deva. So nobody knew where she was from, about her personal background details, nobody knew. So there was one elderly florist who stayed in Puri, where he saw in a dream a little girl came to him, and he was ordered by Lord Jagannatha that he has to take care of his girl as his own daughter. So next day morning when he woke up, actually the small girl was waiting outside his house. So on the order of the superior, he accepted the girl as his own daughter. He started raising her. And she also picked up the profession of making garlands for the Lord. So after making the garlands, extra flowers will be used to make garlands, and they used to sell for people, whoever used to go for the temple worship. And they used to make money so that they can maintain their family. So over a period of time, the elderly person, he passed away. So she continued the service of making garlands for the deities. So in spite of her beauty, she never married anyone. In fact, she always remained indifferent to any personalities in this world. And she did not allow anyone to touch her, even for the sake of purchasing the flowers. So she used to pack nicely in banana leaves, wrap them and keep them on the floor. And people have to pick it up from the floor. So no chance were given anybody to touch her. So she always kept many animals, domestic animals such as sheep and parrots in the house, to whom she had taught the names of Lord Jagannatha. So by seeing her beauty, all the young men in Puri became it became a fantasy for them. Somehow they have wanted to touch her, or they wanted to marry her. So once a son of a panda went to as far as touching her hand, but the Jnanade never gave garlands unto him. So she packed the young man was about to snatch away the packed garland directly from her with an excuse of touching her, but he was horrified and scared when he immediately experienced a great pain and loss of energy in his own hand. So it almost became like a numb hand when he wanted to grab that garland from her hand. So then the rumor spread, and the interest of young men increased more. So it was a sexual perspective and a fear which pushed men for like an adventure. Whoever goes and touches her will experience something like that. It became like a competition among young men. And many people also backed out of fears, thinking that for him it is only hand became numb. If we go, we might die. Like that, many people also backed her out. So these fantasies were spreading everywhere. The neighbors were constantly looking for some opportunity, thinking that this girl is maybe having illicit relationship with some people like that and all. They were all looking for opportunities to blaspheme her. So in 1268, one day the king came to the temple, and he even became captivated by her beauty. So after hearing about her secret lovers, he had asked his ministers to look into the details. The spies were doing everywhere, but they could not find not even a drop or a small source of information, anything that she is doing any illicit perspective, all these things and all. It's all just rumors and all. So one certain particular time, many people saw, one day there was a heavy rain. She was walking from the temple to her house, but she was undrenched, not even a drop on her body. So people were wondering, maybe she is some black witch or what. How in the entire rain we were all drenching, how she is not able to drench, not even drop of water on her body. So they thought she is some yogini or something powerful, tantric or something. So the neighboring ladies started coming to her house to treat their children for some small diseases. And she compassionately was praying to Lord Jagannatha for curing them. And they were also getting the results of her sincere prayer. So because of her name and fame, some of the temple priests started becoming envious of her. They were thinking she was becoming more popular. So they employed some black magic to stop her and to make her ugly and dumb. See what happens, the system with black magic is, if it is not done properly or if it is done against superior people, the black magic will fire back. The person who has order, he will become ugly and he will become dumb. So because of her serious devotional service and attraction to Lord Jagannatha, the priest who has engaged that black magic person, they all became dumb and ugly. So, finally that black magic person, he was able to reveal the secret of 5 sheep in the house of Janadev. So he said that there are all that 5 people are that 5 tantrics who are helping her and to protect her. So if you can get rid of these 5 sheep, so then we will get to know we can do black magic on her. Like that and all they were thinking. So the priest finally believed something. They found some argument to accuse Jnanadev of immorality, and they complained to the king that she was keeping these sheep. They were all men who have been converted to sheep, and she was having illicit relationship in their house. Like that and all, they fabricated a story. They complained to the king. The king had sent constables to catch her and bring her and to put into the police station or to the judgment. The parrots whom she was taken care of have instructed her what is going to happen about the future. But she was undisturbed. She was only praying to Lord Jagannatha. So when the constables came to arrest her, she said, along with me, the sheep also should come to the palace. So all her sheep, and she was also brought in front of the king. And the king questioned her that there is a rumor or that there is an accusation that one of the prince who came to you has been converted to a sheep, and he is there in one of these 5 people, 5 sheep here, and you are holding on to these men and you are enjoying illicit affairs with these men. So then that yogini, she said, she tapped one of the sheep. He immediately became transformed into a beautiful boy. And all the other 4 sheep also became transformed into great yogis there actually. And they said to the king, do not believe in the words of these foolish priests who became envious and jealous of her austerities and devotion to the Lord. She is actually very pure, and we have been taking shelter through her to remove some curse what has been there in our lives. We have come to her shelter, and she is supporting us and she is taking care of us by removing our curse in the form of these material perspectives. So she is very pure. Do not believe on these people. So finally the king asked, if you are so pure, can you restore the priest's health back to life, and other perspectives what had happened to them because they had committed an offense to you. So Vaishnavas are very compassionate in that perspective, he was requesting. And she also immediately prayed to Lord Jagannatha. At that time, one dark cloud appeared in that atmosphere, it seems, which took away all their sinful tendencies, and they all became very sincere people, and they all became retransformed into original personalities. All their deformity was gone, and all their dumb abilities were also gone. They became like normal people. So the priests were instantly cured, and Jnanadev offered Lord Jagannatha a Dhanva Mala, which is a special traditional garland which is of 12 feet long, which is worn between the arms of Lord Jagannatha. So in that way, see, devotional service means sometimes it is seen, or most of the times it is seen, people become envious. So Lord wants to glorify his devotees, but materially mentality people, they cannot take up somebody being artificially or somebody being naturally become glorified by their qualities. So they become envious, they try to put impediments in their path, but Lord is there to protect the devotees with that perspective. So we have to have faith in the system. By engaging in devotional service, Lord is there for our protection, and he will take care of us. So here also we will see the perspectives of what Kaśyapa is going to instruct his wife of outcome of the situation, what she had done. So how will be seen in the further classes. We'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? గ్రంథరాజ్ శ్రీమద్ భాగవతం కి, జగద్గురు శీల ప్రభుపాద్ కి నితాయ్ గౌర్ ప్రేమానంద.
గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణవాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి